Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of Love at First Insight, the 22nd Electron mission with Rocket Lab, the first of a pair of missions for the BlackSky space constellation system, launching out of Launch Complex 1A in New Zealand, carrying 2 satellites into a circular low Earth orbit of 430 kilometers at an inclination of 42 degrees. For those joining us, welcome here. For those that were on the original stream, welcome back. Sorry about those technical difficulties, but we are live. Take a moment and share out the broadcast. Let people know that we are back and we are here ready for today's launch. Rocket Lab is also getting ready with their stream here, so we will, of course, patch that in the moment that they go live. As always, here at the Launchpad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. We believe explorers will be both here in space and down here on Earth. So we invite you to take a moment, engage that subscribe button, be active in the chat, and join our Discord community. Also, we believe that space is better together. We're glad that you guys are here today. We're expecting this launch to take place about 20 minutes before the hour. So we're currently sitting at about 35 minutes until liftoff here today. If you are having any issues with the audio, take a moment, refresh the stream. You should be all set there as well, but let me know if it is not in sync there. Great to have so many of you joining in. Great to see you, Kevin, C1, Elon, Virginia, many regulars here in the chat. We're glad to have you with us. If you were just with us for the Starship presentation, or really more just SpaceX in general presentation with Elon, thanks for joining that. If you haven't yet, take a moment as well after the stream, jump back over to the channel, jump about 10 minutes into the stream, and you can watch that presentation where Elon shared a bunch about the future of SpaceX over the next couple of years with the development of Starship, Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, some general questions, but also some detailed questions. So we're glad to have you here. Sounding much better, audio's good, great, thank you everyone. As always, here at the Launchpad, we do love answering your guys' questions, so take a minute, send those in, make sure you're tagging us with @ the Launchpad so we can answer those, and I'll make sure we're able to see them come in. A little bit more about the mission, which of course we'll probably hear from with Rocket Lab. As I said, this mission is called Love at First Insight, and it's the first of 2 back-to-back missions dedicated for the BlackSky company. BlackSky is a Seattle-based leading provider of real-time geospatial intelligence using their Generation 2 small sats to detect objects of interest. Today, 2 satellites will be on board, launching out of Launch Complex 1A in the Mahia Peninsula in New Zealand. Payload weighs 120 kilograms or 260 pounds, as Electron is a small launch vehicle. Today's mission is kind of a historic one, as it is the 3rd time Rocket Lab will attempt to splashdown recover their Electron rocket. But for the first time ever, Rocket Lab has deployed a recovery helicopter to the recovery zone, and this helicopter will go through all the maneuvers it would as if it was going to actually attempt a recovery. No recovery today with the helicopter, but will be a splashdown recovery mission. This is the fifth Electron launch of 2021, and we have at least 1 or 2 more expected before the end of the year. The 22nd Electron launch in their Rocket Lab history, and I believe we're at the 120th orbital launch attempt of 2021, so that number is picking up quite quickly. Splashdown will take place about 650 kilometers downrange from the launch complex. We've seen 2 other splashdowns before. The first one we didn't see any live coverage of because they actually had a failed second stage. And then the second one, I don't believe we saw any camera feed as well, but it'll be very interesting to see. They show it today. They've very much publicized that they will be doing this recovery attempt here today. So we expect to hopefully have some live views of that. Liftoff time is scheduled for 38 minutes after the hour. So we're coming up at 34 minutes and counting for the 22nd Electron mission. In Love at First Insight. Justin, thank you so much for that support. Great to see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you guys are new and want to help support what we do, there's a few ways you can do that. You can send in super chats or super stickers, or you can consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. All those funds go to making sure we're able to do everything that we do. They don't go to salaries, but going to equipment, costs of flights, hotels, and everything. It is quite expensive to be down on location in Florida and Starbase, but we, of course, have to be there for those orbital flight tests of SLS, Starship, Blue, New Moon, New Glenn, the Blue Moon, New Glenn, one of those ones, and many more here in the future. Not going to miss those, and of course, some of the exciting Falcon 9s and Falcon Heavy missions expected to return to the launch complex next year. If you're in our Discord, feel free to jump over to live comms. I know some people are hanging out in there, and it's great to have you all there. I'll jump on over a little bit later and check in with all of you. But we should be coming up here in the next few minutes, expecting to have this launch coverage begin. Rocket Lab is live, so we are just waiting for them to begin their actual commentary, where we'll get an update on the current status of the rocket and the recovery zone and the launch site. Last we heard, it was a safe go in the range, and everything was green for launch. A little bit of what you guys can expect to be happening at this time in the countdown. We're coming up at T-minus 30 minutes, which is when the safety zones will become activated for the dedicated airspace. Right now, we do have confirmation the airspace, the marine zone, and the roads have all been closed and are in preparation for launch. Coming up at T-minus 18 minutes, we will have a go, no-go poll. T-minus 2 minutes, auto sequence start. At T-minus 2 seconds, that's when those Rutherford engines will ignite with liftoff at T0. Main engine cutoff of the first stage of Electron, 2 minutes, 27 seconds into flight, followed by stage separation. 2 minutes and 34 seconds in, we see the second stage with more Rutherford engines ignite, followed by fairing separation. Stage 1 will begin its descent and recovery sequence at T plus 4 minutes and 40 seconds. That's when it will reach its apogee. While the second stage continues on, it'll have a battery hot swap, a very unique part of the Electron rocket, at T plus 7 minutes 26 seconds, where it'll also release those extra batteries. Followed by drogue chute deploy back to back. We'll see battery hot swap, and just seconds later, stage 1's drogue chutes should deploy. Stage 1 will be supersonic, 7 minutes 48 seconds into flight, followed by main chute deploy at 8 minutes 21 seconds. At that same time, when the main chutes deploy, that is when the recovery helicopter will begin its reconnaissance and positioning to attempt a recovery. Now, it won't recover it here this evening, but it will prepare as if it was going to. Electron will officially reach its orbit at T plus 10 minutes 15 seconds, with stage separation of the kick stage at T plus 10 minutes and 23 seconds. Looks like Rocket Lab's getting set up here with their beautiful views of their launch complex, so we'll listen in. Stage 1 expected to splash down at T plus 18 minutes 30 seconds, and the kick stage will have its final cutoff T plus 53 minutes 14 seconds, with payload deploy 55 minutes after liftoff. So a little bit longer mission here today, so make sure you stay with us. Let us know if you have questions. We'll be answering those in the chat. But we're going to listen into Rocket Lab here for a current status update of Electron 22 Love at First Insight. Make sure you've hit like, subscribe, share out the broadcast, and as always, good luck to Rocket Lab and Electron, their first launch in a little bit, the 5th of 2021. Let's listen in.
Hello from Rocket Lab's Mission Control Center, where we are bringing you a live look at the Electron rocket ready on the pad at Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in Mahia, New Zealand. Thank you for joining us this afternoon from Rocket Lab's 22nd Electron launch, a mission we have called Love at First Insight for our customer BlackSky through mission integration partner Spaceflight. I'm Muriel Baker here with you from our Mission Control Center in Auckland, New Zealand. We are about 19 minutes away from the scheduled launch of this mission at 2:38 p.m. local time or 1:38 a.m. UTC. We're targeting liftoff right at the top of our launch window, with backup opportunities available over the fortnight in case we need to scrub or stand down for any reason from today's launch attempt. We are also keeping a close eye on the weather off the coast where, for the first time, we have a helicopter stationed offshore, ready to take part in our rocket recovery operations by observing the return of Electron's booster from space as part of our work to make Electron the world's first reusable orbital class small rocket. This mission will be the third time we'll bring Electron's first stage back to Earth under a parachute before landing it softly in the ocean to be recovered by our recovery engineers on a nearby ship. We have water-landed Electron twice before on our 16th and 20th Electron launches, but this third time includes the introduction of that helicopter that will simulate flying in formation with the returning booster as a test for future attempts to recover the booster from the air with a helicopter instead. We have cameras stationed on the chopper and will hopefully be able to bring you live views of Electron's return from space from about T+10 minutes after liftoff. Regardless of whether we get those live shots, we will bring you updates throughout this broadcast on those operations as soon as we have them.
Test toggled and successful.
So Rocket Lab, everyone's, or Electron, everyone's favorite black rocket, very white. That is because it is fueled, getting ready to go. We just saw there as they began their stream that fueling is
I'm monitoring mission code
fueling is
on the
complete.
satellites on board today's mission, we've had to lengthen Electron in order to fit the two Gen 2 satellites for BlackSky inside Electron's fairing. These payloads are the company's latest observation smallsats for their low Earth orbit constellation. They capture high-resolution images of our planet that are combined with BlackSky's artificial intelligence platform to analyze and make sense of those images, to track trends from a region's economic recovery from COVID-19 through to international cargo transport, and provide analytics and insights to industries including infrastructure, land use, defense, supply chain management, and humanitarian aid. Love at First Insight is the first of 3 back-to-back dedicated missions for BlackSky, with the next targeted for liftoff during a 2-week launch window that opens before the end of this year. The beauty of owning and operating the world's first private orbital launch site means that Rocket Lab is uniquely capable of launching to where and when our customers want to on their timeline. BlackSky and Spaceflight are using that advantage to launch these satellites quickly over the next few weeks and deliver insights to decision makers around the world faster. Earlier, we caught up with Spaceflight at Launch Complex 1 to talk through the mission. Today's mission, combined with a satellite we already deployed earlier this year and the next 2 missions to come, represent the largest number of satellites BlackSky has committed to a single launch provider to date, and we are thrilled to be back on the pad with them once again today. A check-in on the countdown clock tells us we are just seconds away from the go, no-go poll for launch by this mission's launch director, Adam Slee. Let's listen into Mission Control and hear how we are shaping up for liftoff today.
And
All
if you just
stations, this is LD on mission cord. We're proceeding with the go, no-go sequence at this time. Stage, you go.
Stages go.
Avionics,
Avionics is go.
GNC,
GNC is go.
Econ,
Econ is go.
T1,
T1 is go.
GC,
GC is go.
PLS,
PLS is go.
RSO,
RSO is go.
MET,
Met is go.
MM,
MM is go.
Recovery,
Recovery is go.
LD sup,
LD sub is go.
and can confirm execs go. We're currently T-minus 11 minutes 24 seconds and counting. We are currently go for the terminal count start at T-minus 10. From this time, the three-way procedure is in effect.
So for those just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're joining us just in time for our live launch coverage of Rocket Lab's 22nd Electron mission, Love at First Insight. We just heard there they did have their final go, no-go poll, and Electron is go to go into terminal guidance or terminal count. Also, the go hold procedures change at this point now that the Electron is getting into its final launch positioning. Any time from now, if we hear hold, they will actually have to stop the count and evaluate from there. Coming down to T-minus 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Take a moment, share out the broadcast. Again, we said today carrying 2 BlackSky satellites launching out of New Zealand. It is going to be launching directly to the east. So if you are down in the region and be able to see any pictures or videos, make sure you send those to us after the launch. And we'll be glad to share those here, possibly on stream or over on Twitter and Facebook. Should be visible for about the first 2.5 to 3 minutes of flight from the coastline before it continues on its way over the ocean here this evening. Again, launching from Launch Complex 1A at the Mahia Peninsula in New Zealand. Let's listen into an update. Looks like they might be talking a little bit about the Rutherford engines that are on board.
Is our kick stage, equipped with its own Curie engine, flight software and other systems to function as an orbital transfer vehicle to deliver payloads to their exact destination in space. With the kick stage travelling at up to 27,000 kilometres an hour, inserting the payload to its specific orbital plane is a complex task that requires precision and flawless timing. It takes a dedicated team of engineers and technicians, hours of systems testing and checks and rechecks of every aspect of the vehicle and payload before our launch director gives the go to proceed with launch. Here's what goes into preparations and mission readiness in the hours before launch.
The countdown to launch is the most closely watched clock in mission control. Here are some of the things that take place at each milestone after the countdown begins. At T-minus 9 hours before launch, our crew are on site at Launch Complex 1 to configure the pad for launch and prepare to power on Electron for the day's operations. Meanwhile, our operators in mission control start checking in to their stations. At T-minus 7 hours, our operators will brief the launch director with a status update. Mission Control also receives its first weather check on what to expect at liftoff, including cloud cover and predicted wind speed at Launch Complex 1. Now, at T-minus 6 hours, our ground tracking stations begin to power up before Electron is prepared to go vertical on the pad. Soon afterward, Electron's Rutherford engines are tested with a short burst of engine fire to confirm all systems are operating as they should. At T-minus 5 hours through T-minus 3 hours, our range safety team runs through safety status checks for those on and around our launch complex on the peninsula, making sure the team and the public are kept safe during the day's launch attempt. Fuel loading of kerosene will soon begin on Electron, while additional vertical systems checks take place and the pad is evacuated. It's T-minus 3 hours now, and soon liquid oxygen will begin to flow into Electron. As the rocket slowly fills with this oxidizer, Electron's black body turns white as humidity in the air around the rocket freezes into a thin sheet of ice due to the freezing temperatures of the liquid oxygen inside. With 1 hour left to launch, it's crunch time for our operators. Vehicle cameras are switched to their launch settings. Our avionics team enables Electron for flight. Our final weather brief comes through, and the range safety status will confirm that the area is clear for launch. With 12 minutes left in the count, our launch director runs the go, no-go poll with our operators to make the final decision to proceed with the launch. All final checks are completed before we reach T-minus 2 minutes in the countdown. At this critical point, the countdown auto sequence begins and Electron's flight computers take over. The launch director begins counting down to liftoff from T-minus 10 seconds before the engines ignite 3 seconds before launch, and Electron lifts off the pad at T0 on its way to complete its next mission with the satellites on board.
As you can see, it's a massive team effort to deliver BlackSky's payloads to orbit today. Our operations are on track and remain green for an on-time liftoff at 2:38 p.m. local time.
And again, welcome everyone here to the launch pad. We're at T-minus 5 minutes, 40 seconds until liftoff of Love at First Insight, the 22nd Electron mission. If you're just joining us, take a moment, hit that like, subscribe button. It really helps us out, and it's free to do. On your screen, just to give you an idea what you can see, on the right, you do have your countdown clock. On the left is the current count sequence, so I will move my camera out of the way once we get to the actual launch count.
Let's delve a little bit more into how the recovery operations for this mission will take place.
Ooh, I want more
At
details
around
on this.
2.5 minutes after liftoff, following normal launch procedure, the 9 Rutherford engines on Electron's first stage will shut down, and Electron's first and second stages will separate. Electron's second stage will continue with the BlackSky satellites to space, where the kick stage will later separate and deploy the satellites. While the mission continues, Electron's first stage will begin its descent. A cold gas reaction control system will position the stage on an ideal angle to re-enter the atmosphere and help Electron to handle the 2,200 degrees Celsius heat and incredible pressure it experiences on the way back to Earth. Electron's booster is expected to reach up to 8 times the speed of sound before significantly decelerating to enable a drogue parachute to be deployed. That will take place at approximately 7.5 minutes into the mission, deploying at around 43,000 feet or 13 kilometers in altitude. This drogue parachute both increases the booster's drag and stabilizes its descent as it approaches the ocean. Earlier and higher than on previous flights, the large main parachute will be deployed less than a minute after the drogue at an altitude of 19,000 feet or 5.7 kilometers to further slow the stage and enable a controlled splashdown. Upon receiving the all-clear from the recovery team stationed at sea, the nearby helicopter will be deployed to sight the returning stage and follow its descent. A key objective of this mission is to increase the drift time of Electron's first stage to test communications and tracking for future aerial recovery efforts. Once in the ocean, Rocket Lab engineers will attempt to retrieve Electron's first stage on board their vessel with their purpose-built Ocean Recovery and Capture Apparatus, or ORCA, a specialized cradle and winch system manufactured to Electron specifications, before securing the stage and transporting it back to Rocket Lab's production complex for analysis and inspection. With a live camera on the recovery helicopter, we will do our best to bring the video feed to you during the webcast, but of course, if we can't, we will keep you updated on those recovery events throughout the broadcast and on our social media. We are approaching, though, the final moments in the lead up to liftoff now, with just 2 and a bit minutes remaining on the clock. All systems are go and the weather is clear for T0. Very soon, Electron's flight computers will take over and command the countdown to launch. Once auto sequence begins, about 30 seconds later, we should hear the call that fueling Electron with liquid oxygen has been completed. Confirmation of first and second stage pressurization should follow, then on to the final 60 seconds and T-minus 10-second countdown before Electron lifts off the pad for our 20-second launch from Launch Complex 1. We're going to switch to the mission control comms channels now to listen in ahead of liftoff.
Vehicle is on internal power. AFTS is green and enabled for flight.
Copy avionics.
We are coming up on T-minus 90 seconds to launch. As always in the chat, let's see a go, no go for launch, and let's listen into the final launch count here. The 20-second flight of Electron, Love at first in sight.
Anti-geysering is disabled.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed.
High flow engine purge is enabled.
T-minus 40 seconds.
Deluge activated.
That's the water deluge systems turned on. T-minus 25 seconds. Dramatic zoom in shot. T-minus 20 seconds.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Confirm liftoff.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
There we go, liftoff of Love at First Insight, the 22nd Electron mission. Coming up next, a major event is MECO at T plus 2 minutes, 27 seconds.
We are at T plus 46 seconds, and there goes another Electron on its way to space for this 22nd launch from the pad from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1. Soon the rocket will experience its peak amount of stress as it travels incredibly quickly over a large distance. This moment is called maximum aerodynamic pressure, or what's known as max Q, and is one of the first gates Electron needs to clear to make it to orbit.
Looks like they splashed some water on the camera there, unfortunately.
And
There
we
you
have
can see the
passed
coast
max
of New
Q, and
Zealand.
Electron is continuing the journey to space. Propulsion looks nominal on Electron's first stage as the rocket approaches the next major milestones of launch. In a few moments, Electron's 9 Rutherford engines will throttle down and then shut off completely to slow the rocket down. This milestone is called main engine cutoff, or MECO, and it occurs just before Electron's first and second stages separate. Once that's happened, very quickly, Electron's 10th engine on the second stage will light up to maintain its trajectory and continue carrying the 2 satellites to orbit. After these launch events are cleared, it's then that our rocket recovery operations begin with the boosters' descent back to Earth. But first, let's wait to hear the call out from Mission Control that those events have occurred successfully.
What an incredible view of the coast of New Zealand. This rocket's heading straight to the
15
west.
seconds to Miko.
Next thing we're seeing is Miko main engine cutoff, and then I'll be followed 3 seconds later by stage separation and the second stage ignition. This is a big moment. 3, 2, 1. Main engine cutoff. Now,
Miko
there
confirmed.
we go. Stage 1 separation.
Separation successful.
And are we going to get stage 2 ignition?
Stage to ignition.
There we go.
There you have it. Electron has had a successful MECO, stage separation, and second stage engine start. Stage 1 recovery operations will now proceed with the vehicle's successful stage separation. We are moments away now from Electron's fairing ejection. Let's keep an eye on our screens for that.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Let's see the
Electron's
fairings
fairing
fly
has
off on the
successfully
screen there.
separated as we
Stage
get ready to
discharge.
deploy the 2 BlackSky satellites to their low Earth orbit within the hour. In about 1 minute or so, Electron's first stage will reach apogee. Now when the first and second stages separated, Electron's booster is still traveling at such a speed that it continues moving upward before gravity begins to take over. So once Electron's first stage reaches apogee, or its highest point, the only place for it to go next is back down. We should hear that call soon from Mission Control.
We do expect the first stage of Electron to reach its apogee at 4 minutes 40 seconds, so about 50 seconds from now, and that is when those drogue chutes will deploy. A few seconds later, it will become subsonic and begin its descent.
Okay, we are just past T plus 4 minutes into flight, and Electron Stage 2 is travelling nominally at a speed of over 8,000 kilometres an hour and an altitude of over 167 kilometres. In less than a minute, Electron's first stage should reach apogee with orientation of the stage underway as planned.
Rocket Lab's improved their live stream game. This is great. They've a lot stronger signals, and definitely a very clean broadcast coming up here. Any second, the booster will begin its descent, and then we should see
Stage 2
drogues
propulsion
shortly
is
after.
nominal.
Stage 1 apogee.
And with apogee confirmed, Electron's first stage is officially on its earthward trajectory. The next milestone in our recovery operations will be the deployment of the first chute on Electron's booster. We'll stick with the camera views on the rocket for as long as we can, but a reminder, we do expect them to cut out at some point on that return. Meanwhile, Electron's second stage engine is burning bright and beautiful on the way to orbit. The vehicle is currently at speeds of more than 10,000 kilometers per hour and an altitude of more than 200 kilometers.
Next major milestone coming up with battery hot swap at T plus 7 minutes, 26 seconds.
We've got some good telemetry coming in for how Electron is traveling to low Earth orbit. If you are just joining us, our 20-second mission is going well so far, with the second stage traveling at more than 11,000 kilometers per hour, more than 214 kilometers above Earth. Electron's booster is now on the correct angle of attack to re-enter the atmosphere from space, where it separated with the second stage as per normal launch procedure a few moments ago. All systems are continuing to perform well across both stages of the vehicle.
A great question coming in. Apogee is the highest point in a rocket's orbit. So if you have a launch, you go up to your apogee, and then when it comes back around, the lowest would be your perigee, and that's what you go. Hopefully your apogee and perigee are both above the sphere where you would be falling back to Earth. Right now, booster 1 got up to its the booster got up to its apogee. It didn't continue to burn to push its perigee up, but now it's falling back.
Hot swap set to take place on Electron's second stage. Because our Rutherford engines maintain their power source from batteries, at a certain point those batteries run out of charge. So we need a fresh new one to keep the engine running. And what we do is we swap the power from the depleted batteries to a third fully charged one, all while keeping the second stage moving at more than 13,000 kilometers an hour. We'll hear that moment called out through Mission Control shortly, before we expect to hear the next recovery operation milestone, that deployment of the drogue parachute. Let's listen in.
See that booster starting to come back into the atmosphere there. Here's hoping those cameras stay with us as long as we can. Four seconds to battery hot swap. There they go.
Hot swap successful.
Battery jettison confirmed.
And stage 2 propulsion is holding nominal.
That's a great thing to hear there, because they've had issues before where they had a battery hot swap and then they started to lose propulsion. But to hear that propulsion is nominal is a great sign as the second stage continues up to its orbit. Second stage cutoff expected to occur at about T plus 10 minutes. That's when it will have its separation from the kick stage. Welcome, Bailey. Thanks so much for the support in that way. Really appreciate it. If you're on the Discord, just message Marcus or I, and we will make sure we upgrade your Discord tier.
HVB discharge holding nominal.
Be 90 seconds away from reaching orbit. And any time now, the recovery helicopter should begin its reconnaissance sequence. Main chute should deploy here.
Stage 1 main chute deploy.
There we go. Confirmation to main chute deploy. I'm hoping they have a camera down there, but we'll have to wait and see.
The parachute on Electron's booster has successfully deployed, and so our recovery helicopter is in the air on its way to get a glimpse of the booster coming back to Earth. All going well, the first stage should now glide gently toward the ocean, remaining in the air for another 10 minutes or so from the parachute's release. We'll bring you visuals from the helicopter if we can. Right now though, high above stage 1 recovery, Electron's primary mission is continuing nominally, with the second stage powering its way to low Earth orbit. In under 2 minutes, this stage will be approaching its next event, second engine cutoff, or SECO, and then separation from its orbital transfer vehicle, the kick stage, which will carry the 2 BlackSky satellites to their destination. We won't have an immediate engine burn on the kick stage following that separation, as it goes into a coast phase while it's in an elliptical orbit before its Curie engine ignites and jolts it into a circular path for payload deployment. We'll wait to hear that stage separation call come from mission control shortly.
A number of people asking about how recovery is going today. So today they will be going for a splashdown recovery of the booster, but the helicopter will do its full reconnaissance and match up with the booster as if it's going to catch. There's a view from the helicopter. Are we going to get... That's a cool shot. Are we going to see the booster, though? So they're now in the recovery zone, attempting to locate the booster under its main chute. This is... If they were going for a recovery attempt, they would track it, get in position, and then they would fly by it and try to hook the main chute. Second age... There's the second stage burnout, and they are in orbit. That part of the mission is complete, but now we are hoping to see a live view of that booster coming down.
Our latest mission milestone, the Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage has shut down as planned, and the kick stage has now separated on its way to payload deployment in about 45 minutes or so. Meanwhile, we are getting some views from the helicopter of Electron coming back to Earth. Hopefully we'll see that soon under a parachute. Our helicopter's role here is to maintain a visual connection for as long as it can to record data of the first stage that will help refine our operations for future Electron aerial capture attempts. Electron has around 8 minutes left in the air before it reaches the ocean. We are going to take a break now though while the kick stage enjoys its coast phase around the Earth. Unfortunately, we won't have a live video feed of payload deployment on this mission, but we will stay with you on this webcast to bring you a simulated view of that occurring. That's expected to take place at around T plus 55 minutes into the mission. And of course, any updates we have on the final moments of our recovery operations, we'll bring them to you here live while we wait the end of the mission. But we will leave you with views from the helicopter if we can keep them up from the splashdown zone as long as we can. And I'll see you back here soon.
And there we go. It is in orbit, working its way around. We're going to turn that music down. Of course, the music we all know and love from Everyday Astronaut Tim Dodd, partnering with Rocket Lab. But what a launch. I know many of you are new. Take a moment, engage that like, subscribe button. We're glad to have you here. As we go through this payload deployment coast phase, we'll be answering your guys' questions. So you can send those in the chat. Just tag us at the launch pad, and we will be able to answer you those live here on the air. Also, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We know lots of people joining us from around the world, and we're glad to have you all here and love to give you a proper welcome. Well, a couple things up here on our end. Bear with me. There we go. Mission complete. So the first part of the mission, so the Electron is in orbit. Now they have to coast for a while until they can actually have the payload separation. And that's when they'll actually jettison the payload from the rocket. Before we totally wrap up here and continue to answer your guys' questions, we're going to drop a link over in the chat. We know the holiday season's coming up, so you guys are doing some shopping, so we invite you to head over to the link in the chat there, and you can check out the Launchpad shop. We just released some of our holiday collection. Love for you guys to take a look there, but of course we have whole bunch of options there that you can pick up and get in time, as well as you can get your stuff in time for the Starship orbital test and the James Webb Telescope launch. So take a moment, check that out. The link's in the chat there. We're going to continue to monitor the live view of the tracking of Electron 22 carrying 2 BlackSky satellites into its orbit. Let's see who we've got watching in here. We got Brad from New York. We've got Stealth from St. Augustine, Florida. We got JG in Ontario. Danny's in the Netherlands. Yaroslav is in Gainesville, Florida. Hello. We've got Dan from Ohio. Love your coverages. Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate it. Oliver, will Astrospace be a direct competitor to Rocket Lab? That's a really great question there. In many ways, yes. They will be able to compete for some of the same payloads, so yes, there would be. Light Engine says, as more engines are launched into orbit in the coming decades, the number of collisions and subsequent space debris are likely to soar. There are already 128 million pieces of debris. That is a very good observation there, Light Engine, also connecting it to the incident with the International Space Station. And that's why there's a number of companies working on solutions to try to clean up our space. We won't be able to do everything, but hopefully many of those we will be able to do. Thomas, all you know is somewhere there's a floating manhole cover and a Tesla. That's true. That is true. We got Jules in Sydney, Australia. We got Richie over in Oregon. How's it going, Richie? We've got Caveman in Scotland, Jose in Sierra Vista, Arizona, Moto's in Los Angeles, Leighton's in Wales. Got people absolutely all over the world. I know we got a couple, someone in our Discord who was down there for the launch. So hopefully maybe see a picture or video from that. We hope to, when the world gets a little bit more back to normal, get down there and be able to bring you some live launch coverage of a Rocket Lab or two. Currently 16 minutes into flight. We are expecting payload deployment T plus 55 minutes at T plus 55 minutes since liftoff. We do have a little bit of time. There will be a small engine burn at T plus 51 minutes and 40 seconds. CMS asking what happened, good catch or not. We are waiting to hear from Rocket Lab. We have not seen or heard anything as of yet on the screen. But at this time, still waiting to see if there has been confirmation or not of the Rocket Lab catch. Let's take a refresh here. Sure, they tweet all their stuff. Nothing yet. We don't have any confirmations yet from Rocket Lab. We are keeping a close eye on that as they continue to hopefully be able to catch that booster with a splashdown. but have a good lead-up test, and hopefully we will see that helicopter attempt sometime in the next couple of flights. Another Electron launch is scheduled to take place before the end of the year. That'll be the second kind of sister flight to this one, launching 2 more BlackSky satellites into orbit. Rich is asking, are there any Electron models out there yet? Yes, and we're working on getting one. But there's only a couple, so we are talking to a few people. Our friends over at Bohimzo do have one. There's a few others as well. John's in Christchurch. Hello. Chris in Michigan. We got Kevin in Trinidad. Emilio's in New Jersey. David's in Sydney, Australia. Great to have all of you here. Thank you so much. Lee's asking, oh, let's listen in.
Recovery team. If we're not able to bring you live video confirmation of that during today's webcast, we will keep you updated via our social media channels. Meanwhile, we'll be back at around T plus 52 minutes with an update ahead of payload deployment.
I'm just going to quickly rewind what she said there, just to hear it one more time. This is a quick rewind here just to get that update. Sounds like maybe they didn't get a view with the helicopter, but maybe from the boat?
We are standing by for confirmation of splashdown of Electron's first stage from the recovery team. If we're not able to bring you live video confirmation of that during today's webcast, we will keep you updated via our social media channels. Meanwhile, we'll be back at around T plus 52 minutes with an update ahead of payload deployment.
So that was the updates that they were just giving there on the current positioning of that first stage. Chris asking what missions coming up are excited for. James Webb, I think, is one everyone's excited for. That's finally happening. It's been over a decade in the waiting. Expected to launch December 18th from the French Guiana. I don't believe they have any more launches from there until that launch. So that is a good sign for the information of the ground facilities and everything, that they don't have any more risks. But coming up, we got lots of launches between now and the end of the year. We've got the DART launch, the double asteroid redirection test, launching on a Falcon 9 next week. We have a Soyuz launch carrying a new module to the International Space Station. As we said, another Electron, a data with Destiny. We have another Starlink mission launching from Vandenberg. We have a couple more Soyuz in there. We have another Falcon 9 launch from Cape Canaveral, launching into the 4th shell. So right now, SpaceX is launching into the 2nd and 4th shells of Starlink simultaneously. We've got Launcher 1, and we have an Atlas 5. We've got lots of stuff coming up, and all of that is in the next 16 days. So lots of new information and launches coming here. When we get confirmed T0 times and the first weather updates, that is when we will schedule new live streams for future coverage. So you guys can then watch out for that, get reminder, and go from there. Heather's asking, is the Russian space debris threaten this mission or future missions at all? Yes. The Russian debris is something that will unfortunately be in orbit for decades. Early simulations are saying there will be debris still returning to Earth past 2040, 2045, because it did create over 1,500 pieces of trackable debris. And that's not the issue. We can track that and maneuver around it. The issue is the hundreds of thousands of pieces of debris that are absolutely tiny that cannot be tracked, because you're talking about tracking something this big in space, and it's just not even possible. So that's going to be the bigger issue and risk to the crew on the station, as well as all future missions of any satellites launching or satellites that are in orbit. Now, we do know a rough orbit that they are in. The first calculations were saying they currently are spread out between 440 and 520 kilometers in altitude in orbit, but we don't know how widespread they are as of yet, at least not publicly. So Space Command and many other nations are currently tracking that information, and we'll be able to determine kind of what's next. Over time, the debris will spread out and kind of create almost a ring of debris. It'll be a little easier to know where it is. It will all be still along the inclination of the satellite's previous orbit, so they will be able to plan that. And the station won't pass through that super often, but it will at times, and the crew will have to do their procedures then. Currently, people are still trying to simulate when that next danger pass will occur, but from a few people actually in our chat, the next week still looks clear, so it's after that, so they have a little bit of time, but absolutely crazy. Dale's asking what's with Astra. They keep pushing their test of Astra 3 after they had their kind of fun little launch to the right before they went up. So we're still waiting to hear confirmation of when that date will be. They've currently targeted the 19th, or 1 day and 3 hours from now, but that keeps getting pushed each day, kind of like Rocket Lab kept pushing. So we'll wait to hear on that. If you guys have questions, take a moment, send those in the chat. We're going to continue answering those. Also, take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. And we're glad that you are all here. Absolutely, Heather. Thanks for the question. Mars, why is the FAA preventing Electron from launching from Wallops Island? It's not just the FAA. They're still working on their launch site. Also, they're now looking at Electron, or Neutron, sorry, and preparing that. So they're going to be using that launch complex for Neutron in the future, which is their second rocket, which will be a crew-capable rocket, as well as a much larger constellation-capable rocket, kind of in a competitor to Falcon 9. It'll also land as well. So they're working on that. Obviously, that rocket's still in development, but waiting for more information on that. Chris, do you have any space information sources you might suggest? Twitter, website, YouTube channels, etc.? Us here at the Launchpad. That's I would say the best option. We're a little biased, but we try to cover everything, all the launches and space news here. We'll be launching a brand new show in just a couple of weeks with me and a co-host named Ian, where we break down everything that's happened in the last week, what you can look forward to with the countdowns for upcoming flights, and then we will take a large section of time to take your guys' live comments, questions, topics, and theories. So we'll be having that launching very soon. Super excited to announce that new show's name shortly and schedule those first streams. So stay tuned for that. On Twitter, we're at TLPN_official, and our website should be launching here very soon. We're hoping to have it up before the holidays. But we try to do everything there and bring all your information into one place. Obviously, following all the rocket companies directly: Rocket Lab, SpaceX, Astra, Firefly, Relativity, Ariane Space, Roscosmos. That's going to be your best bet to get the most accurate, up-to-date information. I would do that. Anytime you see stuff posted by other agencies, you can't always guarantee that it isn't is factual. We always try to make sure our information is retweeted with an update from an agency or a link confirming a story, unless it's something that's an actual breaking story. Lee, Elon, Raptor 2 has had significant improvements in every way, but a complete design, yes, the overhaul won't be called Raptor. Yes, a very exciting announcement there. Kind of leaked in a tweet from Elon that Raptor will not be the engine that makes life multiplanetary, but they will be actually developing another engine. So we have the Merlin, and we have the Kessler? I think that's the right one. And we have the Raptor. We'll have Raptor 2, just like we've had variations of the Merlin. But we will be getting another engine from SpaceX. So we may, in the future, see Starship that has different engine configurations. We might see some that have Raptors and some that have whatever the other one will be. So actually take a moment in the chat. Let us know what name you would call that engine. Keeping in mind, we had Merlin and Raptor and those. We'd love to hear your ideas. A lot of people, Velociraptor. I think it's going to be different. But we'll have to wait and see. Absolutely, Chris. Thanks for being here. Dave's asking, how did the manhole cover get up there? That's a great question that in our chat, Marcus would love to share. He has talked about it a few times in the Discord, talking about some of the craziest things that have been launched. But from basically, it was, I believe, a nuclear test. Marcus, correct me if I'm wrong, that launched, like, they put it on top and they buried it and then they shot it. But it went so fast that they had to, they redid the test and they did a camera next to it, and it was, they took one frame on the fastest setting they could, and it was only partly in the frame. They couldn't actually get the whole thing. So then they calculated the speed of it, and it was like escape velocity or something. So absolutely kind of crazy there. Kestrel, thank you, Marcus. There we go. The beer rocket, the Raven, Xeno engine, the aerospike. I've heard a few people being like, do they have a secret aerospike they've been working on? It'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting to see what happens there. But we are currently 27 minutes since liftoff, and we are expecting to see that burn of the second stage occur. T plus 51 minutes, 40 seconds. We're going to take a very quick pause on our live commentary. We're going to turn up some music, and then we will be right back a little bit closer to that second stage ignition and payload deployment. But you're watching our live launch coverage right here on the launch pad of Love at First Insight, the 22nd Electron mission that is successfully launched and gone into orbit from the New Zealand coast. But this is Zach with the launch pad. Stay with us. I'll be back shortly. And again, welcome back everyone here to the launch pad and our coverage of today's Electron launch out of New Zealand. They had a successful flight 47 minutes ago. We're expecting to see a small burn of the Curie engine here to finalize their orbit before payload deployment 55 minutes after liftoff. But we want to take a quick moment, give a shout out to someone in New Zealand who sent us in this video of the launch here. Thanks so much for sending this over our way. This is super awesome. You can see that little light there of the Electron lifting off from the launch complex in New Zealand. So that's super awesome. Thank you so much for sending that our way. Great to see kind of what that perspective would be like across the bay. This is the place, or looks like close to the place, where Rocket Lab actually tells people they can come and watch, just around that kind of horseshoe of that bay. So really great to have that perspective of what a launch is like. But what a beautiful location to see there. We hope to be down there once. But again, thanks to someone in New Zealand who sent that over to us. We appreciate that so much. They are in the Discord, so you never know who's going to be in the Discord. So you make sure you guys join that. Totally free to do so. But if you do want to help support what we do, you can become a YouTube or Patreon member and then get access to some of our behind the scenes, some of our different comms channels, early script access, video access, get to have feedback on our merch. So those that were in behind the scenes helped out while we were designing our Christmas holiday collection, which is over on our Etsy shop. If you guys also wanted to take a look at that, you can do so and pick up something for your friends and family in time for the holiday season. We've got our Deck the Halls with loads of rockets. We've got our Hoppy Xmas shirt. And then my personal favorite is our Starbase Ugly shirt that you guys can pick up and get in time for the holiday season, delivered straight to you. Available now, pretty much shipping pretty much everywhere. We do also have options of manufacturing in different locations around the world. So don't be worried about it being stuck on a ship and not getting to you for Christmas. These would make it. But coming up at T plus 50 minutes into flight, we are expecting that Curie stage to kick up at T plus 51 minutes and 40 seconds. So we will continue to answer a few of those questions in the chat. You can send those in. Just make sure you tag us at the launch pad, and we'll be able to continue answering those. The rocket currently passing over, or coming up to passing over Europe, about 3/4 of the way through its first orbit. Payload deployment of the 2 BlackSky satellites expected about 5 minutes from now. We're expecting that Curie stage to ignite here in a moment, so we're going to pull up the audio again of the stream and listen in to Rocket Lab Mission Control for any updates. We have yet to hear any update on the recovery of the first stage, so we are still waiting to hear, hopefully, how that went. We just got Peter Beck confirmed, stage splashdown confirmed, helicopter has eyes on it. So the splashdown has occurred, which is great. That was about 25 minutes after we expected to hear confirmation of that, but the helicopter apparently has eyes on it. So hopefully we'll get some great views of that. I wonder if they saw it before it splashed down. That's going to be the bigger question. It'll be about 30 seconds away from that Curie stage igniting its engine for a small, about just less than 2-minute burn to finalize the orbit of Love at First Insight, those 2 BlackSky satellites. The real YouTube, now I can start wearing my Star Wars ugly sweater. Awesome. But you gotta get that ugly Starbase shirt to match it. You can alternate, or a hoodie. Lots of options, and it's a great way of helping support what we do and getting something out of it. But we should have that ignition having occurred. I haven't heard any confirmation as of yet. Here we go. Music fade out. Ready
Welcome
for
back
update.
to the webcast of Rocket Lab's 22nd Electron mission, Love at First Insight. If you are just joining us, today's launch included a successful on-time liftoff at 2:38 p.m. New Zealand local time, or 1:38 a.m. UTC. After passing through Max Q, Electron completed a clean first and second stage separation. While the second stage continued on its journey to orbit, we received confirmation of the first stage splashdown. We haven't been able to bring you live footage of the first stage descent from the helicopter, but we will keep you posted on today's recovery efforts via our social media channels. Meanwhile, the kick stage has completed its first pass of Earth in an elliptical orbit, and we're now waiting for its Curie engine to ignite and position it into a circular orbit, where we will drop off the 2 BlackSky satellites. For this mission, we've introduced a new deployment process with an adapted kick stage that will see 3 separation events take place. We've mounted a structure to the kick stage called a top hat, which acts as an extension of the upper stage to allow the 2 BlackSky satellites to fit within Electron's varying dimensions. The first BlackSky satellite that sits on top of the top hat will deploy first, before the top hat itself is ejected, followed by the third and final separation event, the deployment of the second BlackSky satellite. Those should happen in quick succession after the upper stage's Curie engine burn. Let's bring up this animated view of that payload deployment and listen into mission control for the callouts.
We are expecting that first payload deployment pretty much any time now, expected at T plus 55 minutes. Ooh, Rocket Lab getting some CGI animations like Ariane Space here. The different flyby angles. So you can see that first satellite, and then that white dome part is actually the top hat that she was talking about. And there's another satellite hidden underneath of that. And then the black
Global
part is their
14
kick.
has deployed successfully.
That's deployment confirmed to the first satellite there. Then that black part you saw is their kick stage, which Electron does actually have the option
We
of
have heard
turning that.
confirmation from mission control that the first BlackSky satellite has been deployed from the upper stage.
Their
That satellite will
animation's
drift
delayed.
away for a few moments before we eject the top hat adapter,
There we
ready
go.
to deploy our second satellite.
And then that black part's the kick stage, which they can actually turn into its own satellite, which they did a test of, I believe it was last year when they announced that.
And the adapter has deployed successfully. Stand
There's
by
the
for
top
final
hat
payload.
Their video is a little
There we go,
delayed.
the top hat has been ejected, clearing the way for the final deployment on this mission of the second BlackSky payload. That should take place in around 30 seconds or so let's wait for the call from our operators.
Felix, thank you so much for that support. I appreciate that. There's that animation of the top hat being pulled away. Hey Zach, happy to see your channel grew over the last month. When you started, you said you'd go to the moon for us. There's a tiny contribution. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Felix. I appreciate that so much. And thank you for being here from the early days. That early support.
Global
Thank you so
15
much.
Deployment confirmed.
There we go. That second satellite has been deployed. Again, the
Some
animation's
great
about
news
20
there that
seconds
the
late.
second BlackSky satellite has successfully deployed by Electron on this Love at First Insight mission. So with both satellites successfully deployed, that completes tonight's 22nd Electron mission and officially brings the count of satellites deployed
Of this Electron flight. Ooh, did we lose the feed here? Looks like we dropped here for a second. Where did you drop me? Are we back? 1, 2. I think we're back. Where did you lose me? That is the question. Let me know in the chat, and then we'll run through that stuff. Let me know in the chat where you lost me. Good old internet. 5x5, awesome, we're good. About a minute ago, dropped the second the satellite graphic showed. Really? The whole satellite? Like, you saw the deployments. About 30 seconds. Okay. Well, that is it for us. The Love at First Insight mission complete. The first stage is splashdown. And the 2 payloads are on its way. We got a lot of launches coming up over the next couple of weeks. Multiple Falcon 9s, multiple Soyuz, a Launcher 1. We've got another Electron, and we've got an Atlas 5. So make sure you've engaged that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of those launches. And a brand new show launching in just a couple of weeks with me and Ian on Thursday night. We hope you will join us for that. More details coming soon. But as always, here at the Launchpad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, and we believe space is better together, and we love how active you guys are in the chat. Take a moment, join the Discord, and engage that subscribe button if you're new. But for now, this is Zach with the Launchpad, signing off. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you next time.